It's really tough this year too, so.
All right, I'm gonna put us on live on or broadcasted, so just so you know.
Great.
I've been trying to do a good job of warning people that we're going live.
I just saw a very good news article about that, so. All right, I'll be back in a minute then.
Okay. Hi, Cameron.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, good.
Good.
It gets dark, and then over here at City Hall, it gets like creepy real quick.
Really?
Yeah, like all sorts of stuff dropping and noises and all sorts of crazy stuff. So,
Do you guys have ghosts?
I think so.
Awesome.
Our clerk thinks they're children ghosts, like from when it was a school, but I don't know.
When it was a school, was it at the other location?
Yeah, it was the one that was at Safeway.
So the children ghosts stayed in the building for the move.
Yeah.
They are dedicated.
Yep, for sure. They love the school. They must have been great teachers.
Or not.
Yeah.
We will haunt you forever. Sam, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Do you feel good?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. I'm gonna tell Jennifer that I'm in this meeting and close my door so I can take off my mask. So,
okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Sam, were you a swimmer when you grew up? Or did you get into it later?
So we always like swam for fun. And then actually one of my first jobs was at the rec center here in town.
Oh,
That's
cool.
how long I've been here. And so when I became a lifeguard and learned how to teach, that's when I learned how to swim and kind of discovered I'm actually pretty decent at swimming. And I wish I would have swam competitively growing up, but oh well. My kids all did for a while, and now I don't know. Again, they don't want to do anything fun anymore. So.
One day they'll get back to it.
I know we're like at that point. The oldest will be 18 next month, and so I'm like, okay, I think we have like a couple more years, and then it probably will be really fun to hang out with you again. But we're just not quite there yet. It's okay. But Cameron swam.
Oh yeah? On swim team?
She's muted.
Sorry, I was a shark.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep, it was awesome. I still have some of my ribbons.
Awesome. Those are the best kind.
Yes. They might have just been participation ribbons, but I don't even care.
John, how do your kids swim? Are they up here? Or are they?
No, we tried to move up this summer and we couldn't find a house. So we ended up buying one in Arvada, and I think we're going to try again in a year or two once COVID cools down. But they both swam. My oldest daughter swims for Genesee right now.
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
So she does that. We may move up towards a team up by Boulder just for easy, but
yeah.
And the youngest one, she swims, but not on swim team yet. But she might swim this year. She's 3, so she's technically allowed to. She's a swim length, and she can, in theory. So we'll see what happens.
I love that.
They're pretty cute when they're that little, like swimming, crazy distances. So
I know
gotta get that time.
Yeah. Well, and it's such an important skill to have too. So.
Hello.
Hi, Andy.
You didn't get out of here in time to get home.
No, that's okay though. City Hall gets a little bit wild at nighttime.
Okay, let's see. We're going to go into our work session. Okay, first we're going to start out where we've got Cameron Marlin on with the rec center to talk about the Glice rink. Cameron and Sam, is it just Sam?
Hi,
Okay,
everybody.
nice.
I'm just here for moral support, but Sam is going to take the lead on the presentation.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks you guys. So we're excited to discuss with you this evening about the idea of moving the district's Glice rink to downtown Idaho Springs from mid-November through early January of this year. We believe this would provide the city with an attractive amenity that would be appealing to the visitors of Idaho Springs. We could target our marketing specifically to encourage skaters to visit the local businesses and restaurants. In addition to skating, there are several events that could be held at the rink, such as dinner with Santa, skating with Santa, the city's tree lighting, and a great New Year's Eve party. We envision that CCMRD would manage the rink as we do now and assume all operation costs and liability coverage in exchange for retaining all revenue generated. In order for this to be realistic, we would require assistance with the following: a platform that fits to the width of the street and allows the rink to be one level. There's several options that we could look at to do this. And in addition to that, we would estimate 3 days of labor for breakdown, transportation, setup of the rink at the beginning and end of the season, as well as the use of a forklift. We would also need somewhere to house the skates and cleaning equipment. Potentially a storage shed in Citizens Park could work. We would also require usage of water for the cleaning of the rink. And finally, we would need to discuss security for the area. So potentially this could include security cameras, a cover for the surface of the rink, jersey barriers at either end, and maybe potentially increased police presence. So I think that's probably a good start to the conversation. Cameron, I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add or if anyone has questions we can begin with.
I don't have anything to add at this time. Thank you.
Sam, have y'all gone out and measured it to make sure that would fit in the street?
Yeah, so we measured from sidewalk to sidewalk and it's about 30 feet across. And so the rink, currently the way it's set up is about 33 feet wide, but when I talked with our contact at Glice, he said we can reconfigure the rink so that it would fit in that space. So it would be a little narrower, but longer, which potentially actually might work better given the size of the rink, just so people would have a longer way to skate.
So how has the operation gone since you put it in? Good response, lots of people?
Yep, so we over winter break. Cameron, did you have something you wanted to add first? Sorry.
I was going to add that a platform that we could reconfigure the size of the rink, like Sam said. Otherwise, we could have a platform that would be level and even with the sidewalk and keep it at the 33 feet width that we currently have. However, that would encroach on one of the sidewalks. So that would be something to discuss further. It might be easier to reconfigure it to make it narrower, but we have options.
Yeah.
What
was the time period again, Sam?
We were suggesting potentially we could do this from like the middle of November, maybe just before Thanksgiving through winter break. So into that first week of January. And Mary Hillman, this kind of goes back to your question, but we opened December 21st, I think was the first day. And so from the 21st through till January 4th, we saw 1,000 visitors, and the majority of which were from outside of the community. So it definitely.
And then outside of the hours of operation, do you have a proposal on how you would safeguard nobody's on that rink during non-hours of operation or anything like that?
Yeah, so one of those, some of the things that we need to discuss, but Glice does make covers that go on the surface of the rink. And so having that on there or something similar to it would be very important to make sure no one was going on the rink during that time. And we would want to look at ensuring that that cover stayed in place. And that was why we would need to discuss security as well. I don't know if there's any cameras in that area, just to make that presence more known.
Okay.
Is the rink lit at this point in the evening?
Yeah, we actually have like Christmas lights strung across it. It's really pretty at nighttime. And they actually provide enough light.
So you're gonna close the street down for that whole duration? You got a flow pattern for traffic, because that's a one-way street. You're only one-way street going that way.
Right. And so I think that's why we wanted to come and just begin the discussion with everybody this evening and see what city council thinks about the idea. What are the pros and cons? You know, and that's why we've come to you now well ahead of the time, because I think it is a big project that will require quite a bit of discussion on.
Right. Any other questions, council? I like the idea. I think I may have mentioned it to Cameron or somebody that this would be cool to bring in downtown once you couldn't do it on the football field for a couple of months during that winter season. You know, make it, we've talked as council and other members of the community how to make things more festive. You know, Georgetown does their Georgetown Christmas market and things like that. So this would be a start of being able to do some of those events that don't compete with Georgetown, but make it our own here in Idaho Springs during the Christmas season.
Yeah, Mike, I'd like to check in with Chris Malenka on this actually, but I like the idea as well. And I think that one-way street northbound actually works rather well if we block it. I don't see a lot of problems there, but Chris might have a different idea.
Well, I'll be honest with you, we made it work for the summer. So I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work in the winter. You know, in anticipation that we're going to get our parking back in the back, and like the mayor said, I mean, this could be something that's really festive, and it might also, depending on the hours, it might also incline certain businesses to stay open longer. You know, there might be more foot traffic on the street. You know, there'd have to be some deviation. I mean, we don't want to bring a food truck
Right.
because we have all the restaurants, but you know, the town did much better than we thought it would this summer with the street closed. And this might be the catalyst for long-term planning, you know, the vision or thoughts of having the street permanently closed, a walking mall. So I think it's a brilliant idea. And I'm sure my replacement will think it's a brilliant idea too.
I think if we ask the public and the downtown businesses, I think they're going to be supportive of the idea.
I believe they will too. I believe they will too.
There's one challenge though that we're going to have to address. Now, the thing we need to remember is that there were periods when delivery trucks were allowed on the street. You know, certain times delivery trucks were on the street. It was rare because we were getting most deliveries on the back sides of the businesses. So that's something we're going to have to factor in. And I think that the only impact that's going to have is deciding what block it's going to be on. But I would certainly give it my 2 thumbs up, and I'd come back next winter to try it.
To my understanding, it's on 16th, not on Minor Street, correct?
Correct.
Oh, it'd be on 16th Street.
On 16th. So,
well, that's really, I'll be honest with you, that's an awesome location. But then that's going to create problems in the summer when we shut Minor down. Oh, no, it won't. I'm sorry. It's a winter activity. Yeah. So I still think as long as we can continue to manage, you know, traffic traveling south at the points we have right now, I think we'll be fine.
Okay. Any other thoughts, council?
Chris, did you say you're coming back to help with this? Is that what you said?
I'm going to be a proud property owner here very soon, Scott. So I'll be coming back to check on my property.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm all for it. And it would seem to me that we might be able to do something mutually beneficial as far as the security cameras. Wouldn't hurt to have a look at Citizen Park with, you know, cameras, and they could serve a dual purpose with keeping an eye on the Gleis ring as well. It would seem to me it would be doable.
John?
Just wanted to mention our camera that looks down Minor Street is something that is movable, and it doesn't require any infrastructure to install other than a pole to make it secure. It's solar powered. It's viewable over a web interface and it does record. We could look at either getting another one or moving that camera to the park, which may be a better place to kind of see what things are happening there anyway, and bring some economic development action from just watching, you know, the festivities in the park from the website potentially as well.
Good to know, John.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is this sounds like a good idea, and council sounds like that most of, if not all of council, thinks it's a good idea. So I say we just continue to work on it, come up with the plan, lay it out so we know what's going to happen. And I see us can make this happen with the rec center.
Thank you. And yeah, we look forward to getting a more solid plan to you and having further conversations.
All right. Thank you all. Good job.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Now we're going to talk with council about special events. So in our staff meetings for the last several weeks, and Diane came in holding her head saying, I don't know what to do. What do we do with these special events? Are we going to do them? So we've been having some really heavy discussion about events and planning events, special events for our community. And the reason we want to bring this to council and have you weigh in on it, because you know there are some concerns of mine that could happen. One is these events take a lot of money, time, effort to plan. And with the COVID meter, of course, we're in yellow now. We could be in blue tomorrow, but 2 weeks from now, we could go back to red in an instant. And I was having a little concern about people spending money and us having to, because what we'd have to do, if we even considered this, is for them to sign on that says, you know, if at some point between now and the event that the city decides that they needed to pull the permit, it would be done and you would be out of your money. There's no refunds, there's no nothing. Whatever you did for advertisement, planning, efforts and everything would just go away. I don't like doing that to people, but we would be under a position that would have to happen. We've already talked about not doing and planning the city level, the ones that we do, like the 4th of July bands and events and fireworks. We've already decided that us as a city planning that now, with not knowing what's going to happen in July, we're down over 130 inches of snow. You know, we're looking at probably going into a drought season. And I have suggested not even do fireworks and go ahead and move that date until November. And so that we're not stuck with saying, hey, we're going to hire all these bands. And because I'm sure contractually, even if the COVID levels went the other way, we would still be on the hook to pay these people as a city. We have dynamite days. We have bicycle races. We've got the borough races. Let's see, Diane, help me out. What other ones? There's been interest in doing a farmer's market again. So we are getting some interest. So I just want to open that conversation up to everybody and how they feel about allowing or promoting special events this summer.
Is this something that we can wait to make decisions on for another month or two? Because the environment of the pandemic could change. So
I think that we need to talk about this now and either have a yes or no pretty much tonight what we're going to do. I mean, we could go another meeting, but to wait 2 months, that would put us into March, April. People can't even plan their special event in that amount of time.
I'm getting quite a few inquiries now.
Who have we got inquiries by, Diane?
There's several.
Okay. So,
because these events do start planning early. Like you said, there's a huge planning commitment to it. There's a lot of money and time, and they start planning.
So another thing that Phyllis told you what, Andy? Yeah. So anyway, so we really need to decide what direction we're going to go. are we gonna, do we want to take a chance on, us going back to no more than 10 people gathering? And we're gonna have to be, whatever happens, say that the rec district leases their property, say, we'll just say the farmer's market. I picture and envision a 10-foot table with some fruit and some vegetables on it. 10 foot, you can't even have 2 people at that table because they can't space by 6 feet. And who's going to monitor that? And we don't have, the city doesn't have staff or other to monitor it and enforce it. So it puts a huge burden on whoever's holding the event, without us being able to basically do any enforcement on it.
I guess my thinking there, I would rather take the conservative approach and not plan events that need a lot of planning, because if it does loosen up later and we're thinking, gosh, I wish we had done something, I don't believe it's that big a deal to book a band or something, for some concerts on weekends or something like that. You can do that with a lot shorter lead time. And so there are some events that we could fill in and still have activities downtown. Also, we're looking at a lot of changes on the street maybe this season. And I think maybe we need to just learn from what we're doing there and maybe not have the events get in the way of that as well.
And I'll give you a for instance, and John Kane, you can do this, but under yellow, outside events can have up to 150 people. Is that correct, John?
That's correct. It anticipates 175, but it anticipates a closed barrier around an area. So Minor Street's a little difficult because it's just open.
So if the farmer's market wanted to go where it traditionally was in Courtney Lee Riley Cooper Park, how does somebody manage how many people are coming into that area? There's no way to manage it. Now, if they had it over, they could have it over at the baseball field where somebody could be at that gate with a clicker. And every time somebody walked in, kind of like at Walmart, when we went to Walmart, they say, oh no, you got to wait. There's already 150 people in here. And when people come out, we can send you in.
What are we going to do with the rafters then?
I'm sorry?
What are we going to do with the rafters?
What do you mean, Jim? Those aren't events. Those are businesses. I'm not quite following you.
Well, yeah, if we could only have as many people in the park though at once.
Well, no, the rafting industry has worked with public health director and the state to make sure that they're complying by, X amount of people in each boat, not taking 40 people on a bus. You have to have social distancing on the bus. So that's a whole different avenue of what they have to go through.
Right. Hey, Diane, what typically would the farmer's market revenue for the city then on an average weekend? What was, or a Dynamite Days weekend?
What was the question again?
What would typically one of these events for a 2-day weekend, a Saturday, Sunday event, what would it revenue for our city for that particular event on the weekend?
Revenue, you said? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hard to tell because they get to keep, a lot of their revenue. The vendors who attend report their sales tax to the state.
Sure.
It's
so no rough figure off the top of your head.
No, but it's pretty minimal.
Okay.
Because they get to keep,
Sure.
their sales and just pay the sales tax.
And if you were to go to businesses downtown, some, if not a majority, would tell you that these events downtown actually hurt their business. The 4th of July doesn't help the businesses out at all. It's people coming in, they're bringing ice chests full of beer and food, and they're not spending money in the community. They're just coming here for the bands and the festivities and not spending money. But I think that goes along with Dynamite Days, and we have bicycle races and tours through here. The thing about that is they have a way now, most of the time they came back here and met at Tommy Knockers to give the awards away and everything. That can't happen. There's no way that they can control a crowd. You're inviting a crowd with that. Now, if they want to do their ride, they can space them out. The event planner can space them out and they can ride their bikes and they can go somewhere else or go right back to their cars, whatever. So they have a way to do that, but I don't see us allowing them to set up an area where they can gather at the end of the day to have beer and socialize and talk. And of course, if they're drinking beer, they don't have masks on. So it turns into a problem.
Yeah, I agree with Bob. I don't think that at this point we can make a decision and allow that larger crowds are going to gather at this point. Maybe as we get closer to the time, we can change for things that don't need the planning that these do. But if they need this much planning this far ahead, I'd say we can't allow big assemblies.
I'd like to point out in your packet that the direction from the county, even with the yellow dial, it does say to avoid social gatherings with those not in your immediate family.
And I'm going to throw this out there to everybody. You have an event like that could turn into a super spreader. And I'm not in any way for this community for us to take a chance on a super spreader from one of these events happening. And we have to start shutting down our restaurants and our businesses and hurting them again, because that's what could happen. And we talked about that with Dr. Ryan today. He said that would be the biggest things you have to consider. You have these events and all of a sudden you have a super spreader and the whole community's affected. And I'm not talking about the visitor. We're talking about the people that live here and work here. And to be honest with you, I don't want to be a part of that. More thoughts?
It just sounds like the safe course would be to say no to the events. And like Scott pointed out, there might be some things with some, shorter time, shorter lag that we can fill in and still, band or something if things become great. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be in Diane's position where you have these inquiries for these events that could absolutely spread into kind of a super spreader event. So the safe course is to say no.
Other council members like to weigh in?
No, I agree. Until we know which direction this virus is going, we can't allow it. Maybe by September, when more people are vaccinated, we can make a decision then. But I mean, that's 6 months away. So,
Right.
Till then, no.
Jim, any other comments? No? Okay. So Art, do you have any comments?
Oh, I agree with the other councilman. I just don't think it's worth the risk. As you pointed out, it's not worth it.
And like I said, the last thing I'd want to do is rapid grass is a huge one. A lot of advertising, selling tickets.
Right.
And all of a sudden we see a dip that says, sorry, Clear Creek County, you got to go to red. And then rapid grass has to just shut it down. And I don't, to put somebody in that position, I just, I'm having a real hard problem with it.
That would be a mess. Yeah, you're right. It's no, I mean, I can't see any positive angle to any of this right now.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your direction.
All right. Thank you, Diane. Okay, we'll move to our next topic. We are going to talk about our parking plan. A couple of things that we've been waiting on for the parking plan has been Wall Street, and we decided what we were going to do with that, I believe. And then we need to decide, as you know, the Pickaxe owner, Bruce Boynton, has come in twice to reflect on the two parking places next to his building. That the line is marked, the curb is marked yellow over there. The yellow goes past his garage. Now we got to remember that garage has not been used as a garage in who knows how long. It hasn't been done since I've been here, and that's been 16 years. So Mr. Bolton is asking for us to dedicate those parking places on 17th for deliveries and his personal use. Of course, we don't, is city street, it's all taxpayer money. So for somebody to think that we designate parking places specifically for a person or businesses, because we already deny even residents downtown to designate a parking place for the resident, right? As we look around town, we do have loading areas on corners. They are marked yellow. They are signed with a sign loading zone from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I talked to Carmen a little bit. I'm going to get some input from Chief. So Chief, if we say this is going to be our traditional loading for trucks, beer deliveries, whatever. So right now, I believe it's on 15th, the sign says 8 to 5. So after 5 o'clock, people are parking on that yellow line. Is that illegal, or do we need to move that, just leave the sign up and move that yellow line?
No, I think it's fine if it's the curb markings are standalone without the sign. So I think if you do what we did on 15th, and also on 16th, on the west side of
Mountain Prime.
Mountain Prime, there's also a service parking area there. I think we should do it the exact same way. I don't think we should, just like we shouldn't break rules for him, we shouldn't have different rules in front of his place. He doesn't quite understand, but the sidewalk does not belong to him and the street does not belong to him. As you pointed out, that ramp is antiquated. There are no vehicles that drive in there anymore. So that should be a moot point. So my recommendation is just make it like the other streets. You can park there on weekends, you can park there after 6 o'clock, park there on holidays. But during those periods, that's paid parking.
Right, because that's the ad. So we could leave the yellow stripe on the curbs is fine, Chief?
Yep.
Okay, so that would be my suggestion. Is let's just make this another loading zone where people can load trucks, whether deliveries, UPS, Federal Express, whatever, and sign it from 8 to 5. That is for loading zone. And then after 5 o'clock, it's really only 1 hour. You see what I'm saying? Because we start charging for parking in 1 hour. But we just
but on Saturdays and Sundays, Sundays, we still charge.
Right. So I like that idea. Jim? Yep, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, but just if I can weigh in a little bit on this, Chief, I totally agree with you, but I think, Bruce had some pretty fair arguments with state statute, different stuff there. Also, whether he uses that driveway or not, I mean, that's kind of a moot point, really. It is access into it if he did it. But also, it was recognized when the new sidewalk was there, they panned that out for access into those doors, right?
It enters into a dining room. So, but the other thing to remember is you brought up a good point, statute. By law, you can't even block your own driveway. So, we're actually like meeting him halfway by allowing that use. I'm sorry, Jim, go ahead. You cut out.
Go ahead, Chief. I'm sorry. But it was recognized, though, by us, the city, in the sidewalk, that they poured that pan to where it would be accessible via car, if need be. What it goes inside, who knows? But
I don't think he poured that. I think it was always like that.
No, it's a new sidewalk down that street.
Not in front of his store.
No, that was already.
I'm sorry.
That was already.
Yeah, and you know what, Jim? I another thing to point out: if you go back to that gated area, just like on the north side, to be the east side of his building, he's got another yellow area in front of that gate. And you know what? We leave him alone. We don't bother with that. But I think if he were to say, hey, look, if you guys would allow me the flexibility of using this parking space for my delivery drivers or whatever. I think that that's fine. I just think that, I think we're establishing kind of a bad precedent as far as entitlement goes. Because then somebody can make the argument, well, you gave him his exclusive parking area, and we'd like our own exclusive parking area. So I mean, it's something, I'm just giving you my 2 cents. Of course, the final decision, is up to council, but yeah, I think we're on a slippery slope if we essentially give him an exclusive parking area.
Well, I'm certainly not taking sides. I just wanted to kind of look at the whole entire thing of it, and also the appreciation of him, really, delivering food to all of us here, late into the evening, where he would, he needs that spot to be into for the next delivery service, which I mean is a pretty cool thing because, he's one of the few, I guess, that do deliver food. That's a good thing. I think for the community residents.
Yeah. No, I think that, I'll be honest with you.
I'm not by all means taking sides. So
No. You bring up a good point, but something to keep up in mind is that, but that's not exclusively what he's using that for. He's been using that for his exclusive personal parking spot for his truck. So I think it's a great idea if we could accommodate other businesses that do food delivery. I think that certainly has merit, but I don't think Bruce is being totally honest with you all. I mean, more times than not, the vehicle you see parked in that space is his personal vehicle. So,
and that's all I was bringing up is that, I agree with you 100%. That does, warrant some merit. So,
So Chief, you said there's a yellow spot that you've left alone that is where?
There's, he's got a, to the north of his corner, the southeast corner of his building, there's the yellow zone right at the corner. And then if you go back about 2 spaces, there's another yellow zone, which was another access ramp into the yard. And that's still there, and we haven't given him any, difficulty about parking a vehicle in front of that. But at the same time, I mean, if somebody beats him to the punch, I mean, it's not enforceable. So, I mean, he has another option. We can make a compromise saying, look, we're not going to give you the one by the curb, but if you want this space, we're going to have to decide if we're going to enforce it, we're not going to enforce it, or we're going to change the ordinance and have the yellow striping come up. That they have used on and off to get service vehicles in there while they're building, but once he's done, there's going to be a fence there. So that's essentially going to be a ramp to nowhere.
As like you said, as a compromise, I don't know if the police force can be under the stand. When someone picks up a delivery, I can't imagine if the pizza's ready that they need to park that car there for more than 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So if that car parks in that yellow curb area and turns its flashers on, I'm thinking the police will not write a ticket for a short time, like 5 or 10 minutes, because if you coordinate your delivery guy, isn't he only going to be there for a very short time?
Yeah, that makes a good point, but some delivery people have collateral duties. Like I know one of the other places, Picky's, the drivers make the salads, if they order a salad.
In that case, I mean, I don't know that we can accommodate that reason, but if we get rid of that other yellow area that you're talking about, that gives them another parking spot for patrons to his business right there. I would think that would make sense for him.
Yeah, Bruce isn't thinking like other restaurant proprietors. He's actually even threatened to convoy all his employees' cars into town and jam up the thing. I reminded him though that they only have permits in the back, and of course the vehicles have to be registered. They can only be left 24 hours. I mean, he'd be shooting himself in the foot. Plus, not making friends with other restaurateurs.
So another thing that I'll throw out, this state statute that Mr. Boynton's alluding to, this is a state statute that talks about how close you could park to somebody's driveway.
Mm-hmm.
So in reality, I haven't taken a measure tape out there. But, and that goes for, it's not like Mike Hillman can park. If I'm going to park in front of my house, even my own driveway, I have to be 5 feet one way or the other from my driveway, and I can't park in front of it. What I would think is if we went out and measured that, measured 5 feet to the south from the cut, and then how many feet from a stop sign can you not park, Chief? What is that, 10 feet?
It's 10 feet. Yeah.
10 feet. So you take 5 feet one way and 10 feet back the other way, that whole parking area is going to be gone because of that little drive he's calling the driveway. So then we say, yeah, there's no parking here because you can't park 5 feet from the driveway and you can't park 10 feet back from the stop sign. So,
And neither one of these yellow areas right now are being used as a driveway. One of them's into his dining room. The other one's into an area that's going to have a fence. So that's not a driveway either.
Andy, can you pull that up on Clear Maps for us real quick?
Fence is already there.
I mean, I think whatever we do for him, we have to extend to all businesses.
Well, exactly. That's why I said we make that the 2 parking places a loading zone between 8 and 5, 8 in the morning till 5 for deliveries only. After 5, they become 2 parking places, and you know, before 6, they would get charged there. Andy, are you pulling that up for us? Okay, thank you.
It seems to me like we could maybe make a workable solution if someone would meet with him one-on-one and see if he objects to some of our ideas there.
We've tried. So can you zoom in? Can you zoom in a little bit, Andy? So you see where the drive cut is right there? Right there? Nobody can park 5 feet behind that or 5 feet in front of it. So if that's a driveway cut, nobody can park there. It would be illegal to park in those 2 spots where the guy's working on his vehicle. He couldn't park there. He would have to be back another 3 to 5 feet. And there's not 10 feet from the stop sign to the curb. And it's a net out at 15 feet. And it's a shame that car's in the way, because then we could show you the other area. Can you go back a little bit?
Well, you can, Mike, right there, right there, that silver car is right in front of that cutout, right there. You can see where the ramp cuts down. So it's right there where the cutout is.
Yeah. Isn't there one here too, Chief, by the garage?
I think there is, but that's enough. Actually, somebody actually did have vehicles in there. I don't know what his plans are for that building.
Oh, that's
yeah. And there's another one across the street at
if we have to leave that curb cut for him,
is right there.
Rules need to apply that nobody can park in front of it 5 feet in either direction from it.
What's that sign say that's on the fence? There seems to be a little sign. Anybody know what's that?
Residential parking only? Nope. Huh.
That sign doesn't exist anymore. This fence has been changed to a wrought iron fence with the dining area.
Okay. So I thought all he was looking for was a spot for his delivery cars. Obviously, you're telling me or telling us that's just a cover. I mean, he's really not using it.
Well, he certainly can use it. But again, you'll come out there and here, up until we posted the sign, his truck was frequently parked in that spot.
All the way up to the stop sign, which is illegal.
Yeah.
And we know at City Hall.
So I say, I think we ought to just have those spaces as, like I said, just like on 15th and 16th, it's a loading zone from 8 to 5. It becomes parking spaces off that. It belongs to no certain person, resident, business, and we just treat it like our other loading zones.
I would think most of his deliveries are in late evening, though. I mean, late afternoon and evenings, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Jonathan, correct me if I'm wrong, because is there not one parking space in the back corner on the north side?
Let me pull the map up again really quick.
Okay. I just have a vision of there being space for one car back by that north garage, that north shed on its west side.
He definitely parks vehicles in there. He works on
Okay.
cars and motorcycles in there.
Okay, so, he also has the option of using that space and, just saying, hey, guys, don't park here. This is where we're gonna park our delivery car.
I'm pretty sure that space belongs to the Majestic building.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. So are we in agreement that we'll just make that another loading zone, sign it just like our other ones are signed? Oh, there you go. So with that, nobody could park basically from the center alley to 5 feet in front of 5 feet on the other side of that door. Where that white truck is, if we're gonna do that, that truck can't park there. But it's too close to the opening.
Well, since the sign has gone up, I haven't seen his vehicle there.
Right.
So
right.
we gave him a little latitude for 15-minute parking for pickup. Yeah, since the no parking sign went up, I haven't seen his truck there.
Yeah, he's been very compliant with that.
Yeah.
Jonathan, could you go down that alley a little bit west there? So we take a look at that.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be tight.
That's
Yeah,
the-
he doesn't have a space there.
Okay. John, we will put that into our parking plan so we can adopt that tonight. We already did the Wall Street, right? We decided to leave Wall Street one way. I mean, we're going to sign it. No oversized vehicles. Change the speed limit to 10 miles an hour. Is that correct?
We took out the one-way restriction.
Right. Right. Okay. Then we'll be ready to adopt our new parking plan tonight. All right. Public Works facility funding. As I've mentioned before, we didn't get offered the full grant, half the grant, but 25% of the grant. And we decided not to take the money this time because we felt that it would put us in a position that we were looking for $700,000 at the spare of the moment to make that project work. Since then, DOLA called us and said, hey, we want to talk to you. And this is the good thing about Clay Brown and the relationship that Clay has with our city. He said, hey, I want to talk to you about how we might be able to move this thing forward. So with DOLA grants, there's 2 tiers. There's tier 1 up to 200,000. And then there's tier 1 up to 200,000, tier 2 up to $1 million. That's what it has been in the past. We see that coming down. So with Clay and Denise really wanting to see us move this project forward, what we've come up with is we would like to apply for a tier 1 grant and hopefully get that $200,000. And we can start doing some of the work over there. And then August, we'll apply for the $1 million grant again. And then if we get cut short on that, if we are only offered, 600,000 and we already got 200, then we're only looking at closing a $200,000 gap to get the project done. We may get more than that. We may get with the 2 rounds, may equal up to that $1 million, which would be ideal and what we're hoping for. Not sure that would happen, but Clay thinks this is our best way to get this thing going. John Bordoni was in on the conversation. We can get foundation done. We can get storage for the salt and sand storage done. We get a retaining wall built. So there are things that we can get done. What we're here to ask council is if you would support going at it this way. And so we can prepare. When does that next grant come out, John?
Right now, it's due next week.
I think it's due March 1st. So we need to see if council is okay with going ahead and applying for this grant to see if we can get that 200,000 and start the project that way and do it in a phasing situation.
Say absolutely. It's a lot of bang for the buck.
So if we get the $200,000 grant, you said 200,000, right?
Yep.
if we got that and we started the project, are we bound that we have to complete it even though we don't get the other one, or?
Well, that's something that we should talk about. I think that what we would have done is like the salt and sand, that can still be used if this happens to stretch out over several years. At least we got some of it done. John can use that salt and sand storage and a couple of other little things. So we would look at the program and make sure that we're picking out the pieces that would initially up front help Public Works and play into the second phase of the project.
Yeah, I think you need to strategize, because I would hate to see we get 200,000, then we have to finish a project that's going to be very expensive without that other grant.
Right. That's why I don't say we start doing the building.
Yeah.
You know, and all of a sudden we don't get any more money in a part of a building setting up. I think
I'm all for getting money wherever we can. I just don't want to get stuck with the whole project.
Got a question. Regarding the salt and sand storage, there are environmental issues with the storing of the salt. And I was wondering, John, do we buy that in smaller amounts now, and we would be buying in larger bulk down there, or what?
No, I mean, we can continue at the rate we are right now. I typically buy it a minimum of 25 tons at a time.
Okay, but it is just a bulk commodity, loaded with front end loaders, so on.
Yes.
Okay. Where we store it now, I assume that's not a problem of runoff into the creek.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I mean, it's exposed and sits outside, but
yeah,
it's not run off into the river.
Okay. So at least it would be dry in the new facility, I assume.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a difference of it when it's out on the highway and it melts off into the creek?
It's spread out more.
Yeah.
There's called
concentrated.
That's what retention ponds are for. Is to capture that and retain some of that muck that comes off the road and the salt and things like that.
And remember, mag doesn't hurt your vehicles.
Right. Well, it came up the other day when we went to look at the train, that side that faces the highway is the one that train was worn out over there. We're really lucky we went and did a tour. We were really lucky that we got that thing under cover. But that was part of it. All that mag chloride coming off the highway, we know that it affects the electrical lines. We had a bunch of the, what are they called, the transformers blow, and it was because, well, of course, CDOT will deny it, but it's been proven it's mag chloride that was doing that.
Yeah. I think that probably we're sustaining a lot more damage to the locomotive and tender than we probably realized as well.
Yeah. Okay, so do we want to go ahead and apply for this Tier 1 grant in 1st of March? John's thumbs up?
Yes.
There's nodding yes. Okay, all right. The other thing that Clay told us is that if we start doing the work, that strengthens our application, because we can go in and say, hey, we've already done a couple $100,000 worth of work. Plus we got money from DOLA to plan and engineer the project, and we already bought the land. So all these things help the scoring on our DOLA applications. And I don't, if Clay didn't think that we could swing this in 2 grants and get pretty close, I don't think he would have brought it to our attention.
Okay.
All right. Council retreat. We wanted to do another retreat, whether we do it at Blackstone's River Ranch. I believe Clay is going to, did Clay say he can get out now? Is DOLA letting him out? DOLA employees have been locked up in their houses. They could not go out into the field. So they've been working almost a whole year without being out seeing people. So that's kind of crazy. We've got a few dates, the 19th, the 9th, and the 16th of April, the 9th and 16th of April, or March 19th, Friday. All these are Fridays. Why don't we take a week, look at our schedules, and next week, or send an email to Andy of what date. We'll compile those dates, and then we'll pull the date and send it back out to council to see the date will work for everybody. Any questions on that?
Look forward to it.
Okay. Yeah, I think everybody enjoyed our last retreat. That was good. All right, we're at 7:02. So we've got Glice Rink. Looks like we're going to work on that and make it happen. Council decided on special events not to have them this year. Parking plan we'll adopt on our next meeting. Public Works facility, we're going to apply for the grant tier 1. Council retreat. Next week, we'll set a date for that. All right, good work, everybody. And do we have to drop off and come back on, John? No? John Kane, we're good?
No.
All right.
Oh, everybody's good.
Okay. With that, does anybody need to take a short break? No? Okay. We're just going to roll right into our regular meeting. All right. It is 7:03 on Monday, February 22nd, 2021. This is our regular council meeting for the Idaho Springs City Council. And can I have roll call, please?
Michael Hillman.
Here.
Scott Pennell.
Here.
Jack Harmon.
Here.
Bob Boland.
Here.
John Curtis.
Here.
Art McAvaley.
Here.
Jim Clark.
Here.
All right, please stand with us for the Pledge of the Allegiance. I pledge the allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
to the republic
for which it stands,
one
nation,
under
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Please be seated. We have an agenda in front of us tonight. Do we have a motion?
We move that we approve the agenda for February 22nd, 2021 meeting.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Motion is second. Discussion? All right, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Does anybody in council feel they have a conflict of interest with our agenda tonight? Okay. And down to the minutes. Do I have a motion for approval of our minutes from last meeting?
I move to approve. We approve the minutes from February 8th, 2021.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And discussion? All right, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll move down to the bills. Do I have a motion?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I move to approve the bills to February 22nd, 2021.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion, please. Any questions or anybody needing some clarification on our bills this week? Or this?
Art's letting us off the hook really well lately.
I am. I was gonna ask about. I don't have. I'm not on the right page, but the lawyer's bill is in there. I thought it was substantial. I was just curious to what legal things were discussed, but it's not that relevant at this point.
I want to know what Axon Enterprise is.
Axon Enterprise is our body cameras.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. When I saw BWC storage, it didn't storage. I was thinking of storage building somewhere, but thanks for that.
Yeah, that's what we approved in council last session.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Anybody else?
Art did mention the larger legal bill this time. And that is a good question. I think probably Mike, you and Andy.
What page?
Let's see where. Yep,
It was about $15,000.
What page is that on?
I don't remember.
Page 6.
6, thanks, Bob.
Right in the middle. Mike, you and Andy.
What page?
Thanks, Bob.
Again, I am sure that this has some of our planning stuff in that would be reimbursable from the developer.
Well, you know, you bring up an interesting question. When that young lady presented the December financials to us sometime in January, it also showed year-to-date for 2020. There was a section there, Argo team was in there and they had a $2,000, it looked like reimbursement to us. And right under there was a developer's section and it was 0 year-to-date. So maybe I'm looking in the wrong place, but I can't seem to see where we're getting repaid.
Andy, can you get that together for council, please? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Can I have roll call, please, Diane?
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Chuck Harmon,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
Glenn Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We have a few guests tonight. Sarah, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. And Samantha and Don Kenner, and they have some public comments. So with that, Sarah, you got 3 minutes. We'll let you make public comment.
Hi, thank you. Good evening. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sarah Morris, and I grew up in Idaho Springs, and my brother and I, as well as my family, host the Clear Creek Rappagrass Music Festival. And I wanted to come tonight to gain additional insight in regards to special events that will be hosted this year. As I joined the meeting, I caught a brief, I heard something brief that events were not going to be held this year. So I guess more of what I was going to speak at is a little deterred as to perhaps the opportunity to understand why special events aren't being able to held or being able to happen this year, and if there is still an area of opportunity for us to discuss options that we've been thinking through to ensure that it could be safe and successful and something productive for the community.
Okay, this is comment. We'll go ahead and hear all comments, and or maybe we don't even. Sam, go ahead with your comments, please. Tell me your name and where you reside, please. And I should have done that with you too, Sarah. But.
So my name is Samantha Dine, and I live in Idaho Springs, and I'm talking tonight on behalf of the Clear Creek Rec Center. So the Rec Center would like to host several events this summer that provide the community with a chance to recreate outdoors, listen to music, and enjoy local food and drink. In order for us to be able to invite other businesses into these events, which would be held at the baseball field, we need a special event permit from the city. We fully appreciate the importance of not encouraging improper gatherings or creating unsafe situations that could potentially hurt our local businesses and ourselves. But given the social isolation that our community has experienced the last almost 12 months, we do also feel it is important to provide safe events for people to attend. Our community's mental health could really benefit from these type of events. While things could change at any point, warmer weather is approaching, numbers continue to trend downwards, and we seem to be making good progress with vaccinating. And so I hope at least we're headed in the right direction. CCMRD has a close working relationship with Clear Creek County Public Health, and we are in touch with them frequently and have been so since last April to ensure that all of our activities, events, and daily operations fall in line with state and local COVID regulations. We feel confident in our ability to provide small-scale events that closely follow all requirements. This would include utilizing a booking system, requiring masks, social distancing, and appropriate signage. We would also like to ask the city tonight or at a later date to consider waiving or reducing our special events permit fee for 2021. And we ask this for several reasons. None of the events that we plan to offer will generate substantial revenue for CCMRD. And as I stated already, the goal of our events is to give back to the community and to provide ways for local businesses to increase their revenue.
All right, thank you, Sam. Do we have Don Kenner on? No, Don didn't sign in tonight, John? Okay. Normally we don't discuss this, but since this is, this is really public comment. In our work session, the council talked about it, And I believe everybody felt the same way. One, the risk of a super spreader happening, and not to the fault of somebody trying to do the right thing and managing the event and keep social distancing. I've just, I've got me and council has to be really concerned and watch how we do things in the community. And, then we run into another problem. So we've got two people here that says they can do the project, the special event right. Well, that means we give you special events permits, then we may have to give 10 more, 12 more out. And these people, we don't know if they're going to do it. I trust you, Sarah and Sam, but we can't deny everybody else and allow for you. And the other thing we talked about in our work session was, this takes a lot of money and time and planning. And I don't want to be in a position, Sarah coming after me when we call her up and said, we've gone to red and you can't do your event. Then all of a sudden, Rapid Grass has spent $15,000, $20,000 to get it advertised, get tickets sold and everything. And then all of a sudden they get a call from Idaho Springs that says, we're pulling your permit, you can't do this. I don't think that would be right to do to anybody as well.
May I make a brief comment?
Sure.
So one thing that I just want to, bring to the council's attention, as historically Rapid Grass has been more of a festival-based activity, but I feel as though there could be an area of opportunity if we collaborate together as the community to redesign what these events look like. So Cameron and Sam and Mark and myself have discussed a redesign of Rapid Grass to where we could make it more like a dinner and a single show to eliminate the larger groups and to mandate ticket sales on a smaller scale. I feel as though, and just to kind of bring this to light, I feel as though if there's a redesign of the guidelines and if there's a redesign of the expectations, I think that there is a higher probability that we can regulate it to those outside of the rec center and Rapid Grass as a whole. So I just would like to have the opportunity to have more of a collaborative and creative effort to redesign what that looks like. Because another thing that we have discussed is not necessarily doing away with Clear Creek Rapid Grass as we know it, but Clear Creek Rapid Grass as we historically know it. And if we're able to bring events where we have designated tables, as Sam mentioned, with signage, appropriate ticketing, we do have an opportunity to regulate and mandate what that group setting looks like and what that, what these events can look like. They will definitely require a little bit more regulation, but as long as those regulations are outlined, I think they'd be easier to monitor and move forward with. I would be fearful, and just speaking and kind of echoing Sam, I would be fearful to eliminate them as a whole in fear of canceling last minute, whereas so many individuals, and I know as far as the music industry, so many people are aware of the current climate that they've already modified and changed contracts. If an event has to be canceled last minute, that can be something that can be added into the contract initially that I feel a lot of people are aware of. Again, I say if we can be creative and collaborative and we can work forward into a new norm, we don't have to cancel everything as a whole. We can just strive for a more efficient way, which in turn, in long term, can be more efficient in general and still provide something for the community.
Sarah, there's nothing more than I'd like to have special events this year. Again, it goes back to what you will do and how you will operate yours. We can't say yes to you and no to somebody else. And then we would have to figure out you're being, due diligent and making sure. It was a 7. We all talked about this in our work session, and everybody decided that it was not a good idea. We're not even doing our fireworks and 4th of July show. We're just going to cancel those because we can't have the gathering, and we don't know what direction we're going to head. Especially with this different mutant that's going around, it could spread through our community again. Council's already decided not to accept or do any special events permits this year. And I'm sorry to say that, but I think it's best for our community, for the safety of our community. Okay, let's move on.
Well, wait, Mr. Mayor, I just want to point out this, Dawn could not get in on her link and did supply a memo about the farmer's market just for a matter of point. that she did communicate with us. Just, it's in our packet, just so she's been recognized.
Okay, thank you, Art. Okay, we will move next to, over here. We have a police chief that is fixing to, going to be leaving us, moving out to Wisconsin. We know that when Chief came in, we had some things going on in our community, and we just wanted to make our police department be more efficient and run better, community policing. And I will be the first to say that Chief Malanka came in and made 99.9% of that happen. I don't really know what that other 0.1% is, but Chief, what you have done for this community over the last 5 years and what you've brought to the citizens of this community, the friendships, the partnerships, and everything. We can't say enough about you, Chief. It's you know, we know that I'm sure you said you are going to own some property in Idaho Springs. So you're just not pulling up your roots and going and never coming back. And that's good to hear. I can't say enough about you, Chief. And I meant to put my another letter in our packet, and I didn't get it to Diane, but I will send that letter that you're aware of. That's going to go in your employment file, Chief. It will, and I'll share that with the council. So with that,
Mayor,
Jim, yes.
But I just wanted to add real quick that the chief can only leave town if his vehicles are suitable to make it, and both of them were in the shop or service by me. So he may not be gone. I don't know.
So what we've done for the chief community, we've prepared a proclamation recognizing our chief of police. And I'd like to read that real quick to you. Whereas Christian Malanka was hired on October 1st, 2015 and served nearly 5.5 years as chief of police for the city of Idaho Springs. And the chief moved to the city after retiring with 21 years of service from Austin, Texas Police Department as an operations lieutenant, and became an engaged resident. And chief transformed the police department into a high-performing community policing agency. And the chief is a respected and visible member of our community who is known for building relationships, promoting diversity, demonstrating professionalism, and leading by example. And the chief has announced his retirement effective March 1st, 2021, and has decided to retire to Wisconsin to be with his family. Therefore, be it resolved that the Idaho Springs City Council hereby recognizes Christian Malanka for his outstanding service and dedication to the city of Idaho Springs, and calls upon all residents of the city to express their appreciation to Christian for his contributions to the community as he enters the next phase of his life's journey. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand on behalf of the city council and cause to be affixed the official seal of Idaho Springs, Colorado, this 22nd day of February, 2021. Chief, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure working with you and beside you. And we're gonna
Thank you.
Do the little heart thing like Cameron did.
Thank you.
Chief,
Thank you, Chris.
Cameron called me or emailed me and really wanted to pull something together for your departure. But with the gathering and everything, we felt that would be hard to pull that off. Diane Brees has stated that in November, after the election, there will be myself, Diane, and Bob will be term limited. And we will be getting off council, and we're planning hopefully we can gather by then, and we'll plan a party that I'm hoping that you and your lovely wife will come out. Also, if you look at Andy's box, our second in command, Mark Hamschmidt, put together this very nice plaque for you, Chief. It's got the Idaho Springs patch and your badge.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, I just want to say something really briefly. This has been the pinnacle, the icing on the cake of my career. I want to thank everybody in this council, in the previous council. I especially want to thank the community. Most of all, I want to thank Kara. For the last 2.5 years, Kara has been my sounding board. And if you got better service out of me, much of the time it was because Kara said, don't do that. So thank you all. I think as Diane can attest that Idaho Springs has a special place in my heart. I think I will be a frequent visitor. So I'll look forward to seeing everybody, down the road.
Hey, we're going to miss you.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Danielle, do you want to say a parting word? She's shy on camera. I didn't know that about you, Danielle.
Oh, I said we'll miss you.
Oh,
thanks.
Okay. I thought you were saying, no, I don't want to say anything.
No.
Thank you. All right. We'll move on. Chief will have this proclamation for you to take with you. Again,
Okay.
thank you for all your service and what you brought to this community.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris, very much.
Years, I was the soundboard. So,
well, you were, but you and I think too much alike.
All right. Thank you, Chief. All right, let's move down to our resolutions. Do I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2, series 2021, a resolution adopting an amended city parking plan.
Do I have a second?
I second.
And discussion. Roll call, please.
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Wait, Andy has a question.
Oh, discussion. Andy?
Mayor, we just need with that motion, just the direction that council gave from the work session on the one loading zone. If we could have that added to the motion,
please. To include.
I'm sorry, that loading zone that we're adding, that is on the southwest corner of 15th. Is that correct?
Of
17.
I'm sorry. What?
Southwest corner of 7.
Okay. All right. I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2, series 2020-21, a resolution adopting an amended city parking plan, also to include the one loading zone on the southwest corner of 17.
Do I have it? Andy?
sorry, just a clarification, that would actually be the northwest corner of Minor and 17th Avenue for that loading zone.
Northwest corner of Minor, yes.
Minor, 17. All right.
Thank you.
Sure. Resolution number 2, series 2021, resolution adopting an amended city parking plan, and that's to include a loading zone on the northwest corner of Minor and 17.
And do I have a second?
I second.
All right. Discussion. All right. Can I have roll call, please?
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Now Carmen, Bob Bullen,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
All right. We have our next resolution. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve resolution number 3, series 2021, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Colorado Department of Transportation concerning greenway maintenance obligations, CR 314/I-70 bike pedestrian trail.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got Art with a second. Discussion. Roll call.
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Now Carmen,
Yes.
Bob Bullen,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
All right. Motion passes. We'll move to resolution number 4. Do I have a motion?
I would move to approve resolution number 4, series 2021, a resolution approving a utility easement agreement between the city of Idaho Springs and Public Service Company of Colorado, PSCO, through the city-owned property known as Parkville Place.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Scott's got second. Discussion.
Mayor and council, I'm just a little curious. I am certain electrical service already goes up that road to the end of the road. And I guess my question is, maybe they don't have anything, you know, a legit easement or something that they could find, because I promise that there's electrical service going up there to the ranch.
Andy?
Mike Davenport handled this with Excel, this request from Excel, and he is on the call here.
Mike, could you give it clarification, please?
Yeah, good evening. I don't know if there is about the access being further south, so I don't have an answer for you on that.
Okay, because I will tell you, I was inspecting some actual electrical work on a non-completed home that went up for an IRS auction, and it was only maybe 400 or 500 yards from the end of the road, and there's electrical service up there. So I just don't know if public service couldn't find the original easement, but it's been there for a long time. Not that there's a legit easement, but the electrical service has been up that road for a long time.
Are you having a question with this easement, Chuck?
I'm just wondering, it would seem to me that there already has been something present. I don't see anything with approving this easement, but I'm just suggesting that it may be redundant, as there's already poles and lines in place all the way up the road.
Okay, all right. Andy?
Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this this parcel of city property basically follows Van Eden Road, and it's a long, skinny parcel of city-owned property, and it basically includes the road and some space on either side of the road. So as I understand it, this easement would basically be along Van Eden Road. Am I right, Mike?
Yes, they in the maps that were included with the resolution and the memo. I had overlaid the easements drawn for Excel with the clear map, and the easement very closely follows the path of the road in doing that. Very close to the road.
That's the way I remember it. You know, being very close to the road.
Chuck, are you frozen?
No.
Okay, because your voice and your mouth are different. I just want to make sure.
A slap won't fix, Mayor, but no, and again, I had no problem making the movement to approve that resolution. But I was just suggesting that perhaps it's redundant, because I believe the poles and the power lines go all the way to Van Eden Ranch right now. In fact, they actually wide off to provide service to an uncompleted home on another parcel.
Okay. So Mike, do you have any comment on that? Will we check into that? We can go ahead and approve this in case it's necessary, so we don't have to bring it back. I don't see any reason not to. But
I can go. I can go in after this. I can go this week and go actually take a look at it, and I can contact Excel and ask them about, is there already an easement there? So I can look into this further for you this week and get back to Andy about it.
Okay.
Yeah, and Mike, I want you to know, I wasn't trying to be an obstructionist. There really is no problem with this, as it has historically gone up that road. I just wanted everybody to be aware that it has been there, I know of, for decades, and that this just may be redundant. Although, if no legal work can be found, perhaps we are doing something beneficial, but to legitimize what's already there.
And the public service had said this is to preserve one owner at 1349 Van Eden. And they said there also were several other property owners that they'll be connecting to as well in the near term.
It seems to me we need to know exactly what's going on when we're granting permanent easements off city property. And I think waiting is, exploring and being on solid ground, so to speak.
I agree with Bob, 100%.
Yeah,
yes. Thank you, Bob.
Okay, let's go ahead and get roll call on this, Diane.
Michael Hellman.
Yes.
Scott Pennell.
Yes.
Chuck Harmon.
Yes.
Bob Boland.
Yes.
John Curtis.
Yes.
Art Cacavelli.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Now we'll move down to, we don't have any ordinance first readings, so we'll do our second reading. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve ordinance number 2, series 2021, an ordinance amending sections 2-11 and 2-31 of the Idaho Springs Municipal Code concerning the commencement of elected officials' terms of office.
And do I have a second?
I second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Michael Hellman.
Yes.
Scott Pennell.
Yes.
Chuck Harmon.
Yes.
Bob Boland.
Yes.
John Curtis.
Yes.
Art Cacavelli.
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
Right. All right. Andy, we're down to you. And it looks like that we have a couple, an action item on your report. So do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve an Energy Impact Assistance Fund, EIAF Tier 1 grant application to the Colorado Department of Local Affairs, DOLA, in the amount of $200,000 with a $200,000 match from the city for phase 1 construction of the Public Works facility.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Roll call.
Michael Hellman.
Yes.
Scott Pennell.
Yes.
Chuck Harmon.
Yes.
Bob Boland.
Yes.
John Curtis.
Yes.
Art Cacavelli.
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes. Well, does anybody have any questions for Administrator Marsh? All right. Diane, you're up.
Mayor and Council, I have my staff report for your review with no requests for action.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Diane? All right, Chief.
Mayor and Council, likewise, refer you to my report, and I have no requests for action.
All right. Any more accolades or questions for the chief? All right.
I'm overwhelmed. If you say any more, I'm probably going to get weepy. So move on.
All right. We will move down to John, Public Works, Streets, Water and Wastewater.
Mayor and Council, you have my staff report. I also do have one request for action that was actually approved by council last year. And I just wanted to bring it before council again this year. I'd still like to get the pump generator set for the Montaigne pump set.
Right. We have a motion.
Move to approve $12,650 to JVA Inc. for engineering and construction management for the Montane Pump Station from line item 5472 to -7320.
I have a second. Motion and second. Bob's got second. Discussion. Roll call.
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Chuck Harmon,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
Okay. With that, we're going to move down to mayor and council. And I am going to make this motion. So I will make a motion to approve appointing Nathan Busick as the new police chief as of April 5th, 2021. Do I have a second?
I second.
Discussion. I will say that Nate and two of his daughters and his wife came up and sat down and visited with me for about an hour and a half this weekend. They're out still looking for a house. All of them are very excited. Well, the kids are, 15 and 12-year-old kid. This is a change for them. And but they are excited. The whole family's excited. They feel that this is their next part of their life, and this is where they want to be. So I'm very excited about their family being a part of ours. Roll call.
Michael Hillman,
Yes.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Chuck Harmon,
Yes.
Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Art Cacavelli,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
All right. Good meeting, everybody. It is 7:39, and I'll call this meeting to adjourn. Everybody have a great rest of your night and your week.
Have a good one.
Everybody be safe.
Good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.